Paths to the Present has been presenting links to the past since the year 2000. Over the years, we've worked hard to present stories about Montgomery County's rich history. And you know, some of those are worth seeing again. We've combed our archives for segments to repackage for you today. So sit back, relax, while we rewind. Hi, I'm Gail Street. Today's show dates to the summer of 2004 and focuses on memories from early Jewish residents here in Montgomery County. That show began with a visit to the Jewish Community Center in Rockville, one of the largest in the nation. With a membership of more than 14,000, it draws people from all over the Washington metropolitan area. This 155,000 square foot facility houses a health and fitness center, which includes both indoor and outdoor pools, a 350-seat theater, classrooms, and social halls. You can find something for everyone here, from early childhood education to programs for active retirees. This is only one of many Jewish organizations currently thriving here in Montgomery County. Looking around, it's hard to believe that 100 years ago, you could count the number of Jews in this area on two hands. Today's show looks at early Jewish life here in our county, as well as the legacies many of these early residents left behind. In 1880, the Jewish population in Baltimore was estimated at 10,000. 10 years later, due to the organized persecution of Russian Jews, that number grew to 24,000. Most of the new arrivals found work in the sweatshops and factories of the city's garment district. They created a bustling culture in East Baltimore with their own synagogues, communal institutions, and shops. Some Jewish families moved to other parts of the state as the 19th century began, and a few came to Montgomery County. They were looking for business opportunities in the little towns of Rockville, Gaithersburg, and Silver Spring. Joe Steinberg's parents were the first Jews to settle in Rockville. His father, David Steinberg, opened a combination grocery and clothing store in 1908. The family lived above the store on East Montgomery Avenue. Sophie Steinberg, Joe's widow, describes the building.
Well, there was a 3-story house where the store located on the ground floor, and they had rented out the 2nd floor, and the 3rd floor was their apartment. They lived there with their other two boys, and Joe was born up there.
Another Jewish shopkeeper who settled in Rockville was Albert Wolfson. He opened his store in 1918. If that name sounds familiar, it's because Albert's twin brother opened a shop with the same name in Gaithersburg. His grandson, Sidney Katz, still runs that store today.
Well, my grandparents, Jacob and Rosie Wolfson, started the store in 1918. My grandfather's twin brother, Albert, had started a store in Rockville. My grandfather came to Rockville to run Albert's store when Albert was drafted in World War I. Albert Wolfson came back after World War I. My grandfather did not want to be in competition to his brother, so he moved the 5 miles all the way to Gaithersburg.
Sidney's mother, Sarah Katz, who was also born above the store, describes her father's business.
And he was a tailor, and he made suits and all that type of thing. Then he took in dry cleaning, and eventually he came to stocking inventory of clothing and shoes.
Stores like Steinberg's and Wolfson's thrived in their communities. However, the families had to work hard to maintain their Jewish traditions.
In order to keep kosher, we would buy chickens here in Gaithersburg and put them in the car and in a box. And we would slightly fuss about the chickens being in the car. But we took them into Baltimore and had the shechet kill them and then we would bring them back. Of course, we could buy the chickens in Baltimore already koshered and so forth.
There were no synagogues in Montgomery County at that time. This meant that the Jewish families had to travel to Baltimore or Washington to worship.
Well, Joe got his Jewish training by going into the District of Columbia for his training because there was no one in Rockville that he could use. And he was about 11, and he had to take the streetcar down to Georgetown, get his lessons, went about 3 times a week, and got his training and was bar mitzvahed there at 13.
Observing Jewish holidays posed some challenges to the shopkeepers.
Well, we tried not to do too much activities on Saturdays because technically that's Sabbath day, but living in this kind of an area and the customs, he felt he had to have the store open on Saturday because that would be the only way to have a business. But my mother would have special meals and so forth for Fridays and Saturdays, and she would make the filter fish and bake challah and all that type of thing.
All in all, these families worked hard to both fit in with their communities and to keep their religion alive. In the late 1930s, Montgomery County's population began to grow. People were moving here to fill positions created by the New Deal, and World War II brought even more federal jobs to this area. Jewish families were a part of this population swell, and as the Jewish community grew, so did its needs. Today, Temple Or Kodesh stands on East-West Highway, offering religious and community services to the Jews in this area. This is the first synagogue to form in Montgomery County. In the beginning, it was known as the Montgomery County Jewish Community Center, or MCJC. Betty Ike was involved from the start and remembers the event that inspired its creation.
And it happened to be the fact that the police chief in Silver Spring called him and said they had arrested the first Jewish children they had ever arrested. And this was a danger sign. So we formed a committee, a brainstorming one, Jews and everyone else interested, and we started talking about what we could do. The MCJC, the Montgomery County Jewish Community, was formed to hold religious services and to provide services for families and youth. And that's the way we decided we could handle the situation that we were facing.
The man who gave the land on which to build the MCJC was Betty's father-in-law, Sam Ige. He was developing a community in Chevy Chase. In it, he carved out land for a Catholic church, a Protestant church, and a synagogue. The Montgomery County Jewish Community Center was completed early in the 1950s.
It gave us a place, a home. It was still the time, I'm going to tell you, when Jews were not welcome in many beaches in Maryland, in many housing developments, and that is the thing that it was possible for us to do, to have a home.
Montgomery County's earliest Jewish country club began in the District of Columbia as the Town and Country Club. Through the 1920s, German Jewish men gathered for a round of golf, a game of cards, or baseball. In 1922, the club relocated to Bethesda, purchasing some farmland where NIH stands today. The original farmhouse was transformed to this clubhouse, which served them until 1950. It was during this time that the name changed to the name we know today, Woodmont Country Club. As the federal government made plans to build NIH, Woodmont had to find a new location. member Leopold Freudberg was instrumental in securing the Bradley Tract in Rockville. And in 1950, Woodmont opened its current location on Rockville Pike. Abraham Kay, who came to the U.S. at the age of 8 and was working in a grocery store by the age of 13, grew up to be an influential builder in the D.C. area. He is well known as the man behind Indian Spring Country Club. It was originally located here near Four Corners in Silver Spring, which today is the Silver Spring YMCA. Jack Kay, Abe's son, explains the impact his father had on that property.
Number one, it was a segregated club when he bought it, and of course one of the first things that he stopped. How can a Jewish person say that you're going to segregate a club? So that I think it's self-evident why.
Abe Kay built about 350 houses around the country club, creating Indian Spring Estates. He wanted the country club to be accessible to the residents.
Because I believe if they bought a house from them, they could join for $50. And it became the center of those people living their social life. And it was not only a place that Jewish people could come to because they weren't really accepted in other country clubs, and it was affordable at the same time. And it became so popular that I even know that many members of Woodmont, which was the other club, joined the club so that they could participate in the social life there.
As the years passed, more synagogues opened, restrictions were lifted on clubs, and Jewish families further integrated into the community at large. The Jewish Community Center on Montrose Road moved here from the District of Columbia in 1962. Charles Smith gave the land for this facility, as well as the Hebrew Home and the Jewish Social Service Agency. Current CEO Arnie Sohinki credits the community of Montgomery County for their success.
We're the fourth largest JCC in the country. We're known as a metro center, and part of it is the large population that surrounds us. When the JCC moved into the Montgomery County area, it was a place where we knew the Jewish community was going to grow, and it certainly has shown that. One of the success of our programs, and two, because of the population move into this part of the community.
What would those early shopkeepers think if they could see Montgomery County today?
They would have been really thrilled, as we are, because it's so different than what it was. But now it's just the population has grown so. And we have facilities here where not only temples, we have kosher stores, and we have everything that we didn't have before. And that really is quite a difference. They would have been thrilled, I'm sure.
Well, that's all the time we have for this show. I'm Gail Street. Thanks for watching.